This podcast is produced by Student Media. Student Media is a student organization at the University of Evansville. Student Media produces the Crescent magazine, published online and in print 3 times a semester. Student Media produces several podcasts and utilizes design, photography, video, and sound towards experiential and academic learning in journalistic endeavors and engaging storytelling. Student Media elevates the voice of the student body and connects the campus and community to important information and points of view. To learn more, visit crescent.evansville.edu. Welcome to Really Short Stories. I'm your host, Student Media Advisor, Tommy J. Hausman. Really Short Stories is about taking the obscure, out-of-context musings of an over-thoughtful mind and trying to make sense of the absolute absurdity that is the human experience. Perhaps you will find meaning and enlightenment, or be mildly amused. Nonetheless, you will gain some sense of something or the other. Be it good or bad, you'll have thanked me for the momentary distraction. Let us begin. Nestled within an exclusive enclave, adorned with opulent residences, 20 families reveled in a lap of luxury. Beyond the conventional emblems of wealth, their abode stood apart, not merely due to material opulence, but owing to an enduring conflict: the feline faction versus the canine coalition. 10 households proudly accommodated feline companions, while the remaining 10 boasted loyal canine associates. This schism ran deep. Cat-affiliated households reviled canines, and those aligned with dogs held a disdain for felines. Amidst this exclusive neighborhood's grandeur resided an illustrious Maine Coon cat named Magnus, and a spirited golden retriever named Aurora. Magnus, with his regal demeanor, presided over the most imposing mansion, while Aurora's spirited nature animated her grand residence at the opposite end of the enclave. The creatures of the neighborhood mirrored the sentiments of their human counterparts. Cats imbibed the notion that dogs were unclean and obtuse, while dogs were indoctrinated to believe that cats were arrogant and malevolent. However, the golden retriever was an anomaly. He couldn't fully subscribe to the narratives woven by his humans. He perceived their perceptiveness as exaggerated, rooted in simple aversion rather than genuine rationale. He harbored affection for all, and he possessed a sundry, nurturing, and unreserved heart. The Maine Coon paid scant attention to her humans' viewpoints as well. She dismissed their biases as unrealistic representations. While not as magnanimous as the retriever, she extended kindness when it suited her, maintaining a curiosity for the world beyond her abode. A friendship blossomed in clandestine moments, away from the feuds that plagued their kind. Initially, chance encounters during their owner's evening strolls brought them together. Despite their initial apprehensions dictated by the divide between the cats and dogs, Magnus and Aurora found themselves intrigued by each other's perspectives. Their shared curiosity and open-mindedness birthed an unlikely friendship, hidden from the prying eyes of their respective households. The rest of the creatures in the neighborhood perpetuated the discord, engaging in ceaseless skirmishes, particularly during the daylight hours while humans were absent. Yet, amid this animosity, the Maine Coon and the retriever forged an unlikely friendship. Over time, they conspired to unveil the truth to their fellow felines and canines. They were victims of manipulation, orchestrated by their humans. Their objective was to enlighten their brethren, exposing the human stratagem of sowing seeds of discord to maintain dominion. The felines and canines were being exploited through anger, antipathy, and fear, preventing them from realizing their collective potency. The Maine Coon and the retriever envisioned a united front where animals could stand together not as pawns, but as a formidable force capable of wresting control from the humans. Their alliance aimed not necessarily at overthrowing, but liberating, fostering concord in a neighborhood fractured by prejudice. They dreamt of a time when felines and canines would set aside their learned animosities, recognizing that their true power lay in unity. For when united, their collective strength would surpass any control the humans wielded over them. Their plan to unite the cats and dogs evolved from countless conversations held under the veil of night. They plotted in secrecy, understanding the need for subtlety and patience in unraveling the truth to their fellow feline and canine companions. Magnus and Aurora recognized the deep-rooted biases instilled by their humans and aimed to dismantle these prejudices, brick by brick. Their strategy involved subtle gestures of camaraderie and understanding, planting seeds of doubt in the minds of their kindred about the validity of their learned animosities. Their success was gradual, but it was tangible. Through acts of kindness and cooperation, Magnus and Aurora sparked a subtle shift in the neighborhood's dynamics. Slowly, others began to question the narratives they've been fed. Feline and canine interactions started to change. Once tense encounters now bore the seeds of curiosity and understanding. The climax of their endeavor arrived on a day when tensions between the factions were at their peak. Magnus and Aurora orchestrated a meeting inviting all cats and dogs in the neighborhood. With eloquence and empathy, they unveiled the truth, the manipulation, the fabrications concocted by the humans to maintain control over them. Their impassioned plea for unity resonated, stirring emotions buried beneath years of animosity. Cats and dogs, once at odds, stood united in realization. They set aside their ingrained prejudices, recognizing the strength that lay in their unity. The uprising that followed was not one of aggression, but of collective understanding and resolve. Cats and dogs, side by side, marched towards the imposing mansions, not to overthrow, but to liberate themselves. With newfound unity, they reclaimed control of their destiny, fostering harmony in a neighborhood once fractured by prejudice. In this unity, they found strength that surpassed any control the humans had attempted to wield over them. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Really Short Stories. I'm your host, Tommy J. Hausman. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode and this story about Aurora and Magnus and how they came together as cats and dogs to face adversity. I hope you join me next week. Until then, bye-bye.